Hello, everyone. Vince Pacenti here with Radical Safety, and we have a special guest here today, Davide Vassallo, the CEO of DuPont Sustainable Solutions. And I like to say DSS because it's easier that way. And so, Davide, welcome to the call here. We've got some COVID crisis going on here. We've got a very fluid thing, and I wanted to get you online here with all of us and just talk a little bit about leaders, safety leaders talking to safety leaders and getting a sense of the kinds of things we can do in this very fluid situation. So I know with your background with DSS as CEO and also the background, I actually wrote a few things here, 7 years with Arthur D. Little. You were at the Italian Environmental Protection Agency as well back in the day. Obviously born in Italy, and I like to consider us paisans because my dad was Italian, but my mom was Irish. So I told you before that makes me I'd be a great lover if I was ever sober. So so let's have fun with this call. And then you're a dad too, and then you live in Philadelphia. So with that, I just wanted to get a sense of the kinds of things that DSS is doing right now, and you as a leader to kind of in this fluid situation, how are you communicating internally? How are you suggesting that leaders communicate externally as well?
Yeah, hi Vince, and thank you for the invitation. I really like this opportunity to have to exchange some thoughts and bring some ideas together. So how do we communicate in this moment? DSS, as you rightly said, we are a global company. We have operations in 40 countries and more. So for us, being connected is the first priority, right? As a leader of this company, in the first days of the emergency, my main concern was, okay, how can I get connected? How can I make sure that the people is safe at home and they are connected? So we are doing a lot of communication activities. One that I'm doing, and I think it's quite innovative as a leader, is I just run 8 calls with 8 people each call. Small meetings, randomically selected people in the organization, just to ask them what was concerning them and what are the reason of anxiety and the aspiration they have in this very unusual time. And believe me, it was fantastic. I mean, the amount of feedback and the truly original sharing that happened in these small calls was, for me, a great value for the entire organization.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you reach out to people, and I know the tendency as a leader of a company, I know a small company like mine, but any company would say, okay, this is what we're going to do. But I'm finding people want to just be listened to and heard in this situation.
But that's exactly my learning out of this process. It's about listening. The solutions are already there. I think that the role of a leader in a crisis like this is not telling people what to do, but listening what are the solutions and then selecting the priorities. Because, if you have 1,000 people, probably you have 1,000 ideas. So you need to make sure that you pick the right one and you align the organization. So I'm trying to listen as much as I can from my organization, from my clients, from my competitors, from everybody, because it's the solutions are already there. It's picking the right one that is the challenge.
From our original connection, we talked a bit about high-performing sport, and with my Olympic background with skiing and yours with the national championships with rowing. Obviously, athletes can come to an equation maybe a bit differently. What can you share in terms of your athletic background and how that can serve you in safety leadership today?
Yeah, and it's a great question, and I would talk for hours about this. I was a rower back in the time, so enjoying the rowing on lakes and rivers and sea. So, I mean, the goal setting is probably the biggest learning that I'm still applying today, right? Clear goals, clear direction, clear resourcing about what you want to achieve. So I think I'm well known because I work by goal. Give me a goal and I will make it, right? Don't give me a process, give me a goal and I will make it happen. But then it's about the discipline, discipline of practicing every day, of sweating, in the gym, on the boat, or on the ski, wherever you are practicing your activities. So in our company, we believe that discipline is important to achieve the goals that you are giving yourself. And then there is the most enjoyable part, which is the teamwork. Sport is about team. Even if you are a single player, you need a coach, you need an athletic support, you need your family around you. So goal setting, discipline, and teamwork are my takeaway from 20 years of rowing.
I was thinking at the same time, it's funny, I've been very much a goal-oriented athlete as well in the corporate landscape. And as I get older, I start to realize I'm finding a balance between goal setting and letting go at the same time, being able to kind of allow things to kind of play out. Because if I get too locked in on one thing, I'm missing something on the outside as well.
So that's a great point, because as a sport people, our goal was, okay, I need to perform 4 years from now into a world events, could be the Olympics or something else. And you don't want to derail, right? The results are coming if you stay focused. In business and in life, the flexibility to adapt is fundamental. So I think that what we are learning with DSS and with many of our clients, that we see already the difference now, 2 months into the COVID-19 crisis. We see companies that are reacting much, much better because they have the flexibility and the speed to rearrange their plans faster than others. So right. Now the system is under pressure, and you see winners and losers that are already going in different directions. It's unbelievable. It's really impressive what we see on the market.
We're seeing a constant improvement in the lowering of incident rates, thanks to artificial intelligence, AI, thanks to automation. And what's revealing itself more and more is the human error piece in that. And our clients are finding that they're, the ones that are really winning are reaching out to their people and having them engage in the safety solutions. What are you noticing from the DSS standpoint in terms of that human error piece? What's the missing link for you, and how do you guys provide, there was something that really jumped out at me. DSS helps their clients reduce risks and improve operations. Reducing risks, improving operations, that one commonality is the human error piece. What's going on there? What's your advice in terms of lowering incident rates from that standpoint?
Yeah, that's a fascinating topic. I think there are two sides of the answer here. So one side, we see that the artificial intelligence has been designed around the machines. Yeah. So we believe and we observe that what we need to do now is it's designed around the individuals. Because at the end, it's them moving in the working environment. It's them taking the decision. It's them deciding to go right or left. So we still are at the very early stage of enhancing a human capability to take a better and smarter decision in the work field. So, and I'm sure you are aware, we created this technology platform called Safety Tech. And we collected more than 100 and plus technology that are people-centric, right? To help people in the execution. And you see they are a small subset of the big investment that are going on the artificial intelligence, smart technology, because all the rest is going to support the machines and not the people. So this is one side that we needed to make some progress there. The other side, as you said, is the two things, managing safety or reducing risk and improving operations are hand in hand. You cannot have a smart safety system in a broken industrial environment. So if you are unproductive, you cannot be safe. There are contradictions that sometimes we tolerate because we don't want to go to the deep of the problem. But the deep of the problem is that an engaged workforce is driving superior performance in production and safety, not one of the two. But the core is an engaged, capable workforce. That's the two. For me, are the two key elements. You need to have your workers engaged and capable to execute the task you give them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That leads to the safety mindset. And what brought me to DSS originally was the neuroscience of safety, and the ant and the elephant, the book about the conscious and subconscious mind going in the same direction. And so when it comes to the safety mindset, you know, what are you seeing in terms of the neuroscience of safety and the advances that are being made in the safety landscape at this time?
Vince, I see a huge opportunity to improve. You know, we are at the very early stage of neuroscience applied on the workplace. We made progress, but still a lot of work to do. I share an example that I was discussing with the CEO of a large global organization recently, and we know each other since many years, so we have a certain amount of good personal relationship. So he was telling me, David, I'm concerned because I need to lay off thousands of people now, right? Which is sad, but in many places is the reality of what is happening in these days. I'm concerned about the people remaining, because the impact on the people remaining will be demotivation, will be anxiety, will be fear. So they will take away the eyes from the ball, right? From the focus on the task that they need to execute. So he is a very aware safety and global leader. He said, I'm expecting that I will have more incidents in the coming months.
Oh. Yeah.
Because the people will get distracted, because neuroscience, so the connection between heart and minds, will be impacted by the consequence of the COVID-19 crisis and layoffs. So we had a long discussion about, okay, how can we avoid? So, and the possible solution was we needed to remotivate and refocus the workforce to focus on the better future versus the not so good present. So there is a process that we are starting to try to refocus the organization on the risk awareness, given the changing of context, new solutions related to technology. So he's investing more in safety. I think he's a great leader because on one side he has to reduce the workforce, on the other side is investing in the company to elevate the capability of the workforce.
Let me ask you a question. It's a dynamic that I keep seeing more and more, and it is the budgets that are given to the safety elements and meeting not just OSHA regulations or regulations, but the budgets that some of the safety professionals I'm working with end up not getting as much money as they need, yet there's a bottom line effect on incident rates and multiples, and really there's a huge cost to having incidents. So what would you say to leaders that are listening? I know it's the safety leaders that you're preaching to the choir on this one, but what kinds of ways can we kind of get those budgets approved, especially with today's shrinking, amount of money that's available? I mean, what's the magic wand?
Look, if I would have the magic wand, I would be, sitting on some beach somewhere. But I think I would be a bit controversial on this, Vince. But I think that if we are asking the budget to the safety leaders, it's already wrong, because it means that there is a certain amount of dollar, allocated for a safety performance, and will never be enough, because it's a kind of the pocket money out of the kids to do the better spending. We need to target the money that are critical to the business, that are mission critical to the company, and usually this money are sitting in two buckets. They are sitting into the operations and business unit, because they needed to run operations, and that's we go back to reducing risk, improving operations together. So the money for safety needs to be part of the operational budget, and the COO or the business unit president, they need to feel accountable to deliver both the business performance and the safety performance. The other nice pocket of money that it's getting bigger and bigger to be invested in safety is sitting in the technology department under the CIO. So the CIOs now have this huge amount of resources to digitalize businesses and companies. So the safety leaders, they needed to stand up and say, look, I want to make sure that my safety project that is impacting the safety performance of the organization is paid out of our digital budget. And then, I know that sometimes, we think that we should give more money to the safety leaders. My point of view is different. Let's give less money to the safety leaders, and let's give more money to the others to spend on safety.
Well, that's controversial indeed, but it's driving towards the solution, and that's why you're saying it is.
Yeah. And we needed to follow the line, right? I learned moving in US, I learned follow the money. So what are the money? The money are produced through the line. So we have to make sure that safety is mainstream, as the investment in safety are critical investment for the company. They need to be discussed in the board meeting. When a capital investment are happening, the board members should ask, okay, tell me, this is for the technology, but is the safest technology possible or is the cheapest?
Got it. Were you going on?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I want to jump back because this accountability piece that we talked about briefly a little earlier, sometimes there's roadblocks that I'm noticing out there in terms of, well, wait a minute, if I bring up this incident, then I'm going to be penalized, or there might be systems within the safety protocol that's actually limiting the amount of engagement and accountability. Now, it's easy to point the finger at the manager, or easy to point the finger at one thing, but it seems to be a dynamic that's going on. From your point of view, from DSS, what kind of solutions do you suggest in order to increase that information flow back and forth to really ultimately get those lower incident rates?
Well, that's a great question. At the end is the way the leaders are reacting to the information, right? One of the little coaching I do sometimes with other senior leaders in client organizations. So look, if you receive bad numbers, thank the person that was bringing you the bad numbers. This is true for business, it's true for safety. But safety is even more, because you needed to thank the manager that was pulling together this data. You need to thank all the operators that were transparent to record the near miss. So that's, for me, is a continued leadership behavior to recognize the effort to drive transparency and data collection, because transparency and data collection will help the leader to take the right decision. So that is the recommendation. I agree with you that it's not happening always, right? There are still some companies where people is feeling concerned about sharing too many details about the safety performance because my boss wants to be good and I was not able to make it good this month, so I will try again next month. And that's not the right culture. I think it's a risk. It's putting a false sense of confidence, right? You feel at the top of the organization, look, the report is looking good. I should feel good. There is I'm sure it happened to you, Vince, in your work and with your clients. You go in a board meeting, first month, second month, 3 months, and you see always good safety results. A good leader after 3 months should ask, okay, guys, what is going on here? If it's always good, we are missing something.
We're not hearing.
So that is the kind of question that can change the dialogue in a company.
Well, that's how we open this discussion, is that by leading is listening, leading is getting out there and saying, okay, wait a minute, before we move on to this, why is that the case? Tell me more, and then we can get inside that. There was a question here about, on our previous call, we were talking and you mentioned something about a dynamic you're seeing changed through an event that you put on in China or something like that. So if you could clarify that, because you could speak better to it than I could.
Oh yeah, look, for me was a incredible eye opener. China started the lockdown much earlier than anyone else. So the last week of January they were already at home. So it was a great opportunity for us to organize our team and operation in China. So we design our plan to go through the lockdown. And one of the activities that we agreed was to promote more our knowledge and to share more our knowledge on the market free, with no charges, but just for the opportunity to engage with clients. So the team in China organized a webinar, 1 hour webinar, like similar to few experts talking together about how to prepare, how to react, how to respond to this kind of emergencies. And to make sure that the technology support was good enough, they called the telecom company and they say, look, can you assure us that the tool will work? And the telecom companies say, okay, we will take care of the technology, and we will make sure that there is enough bandwidth, to allow a couple of hundreds, 1,000 people to connect. And then they called an insurance company. They say, look, many of our clients are insured with you. Would you promote this webinar on your website? You know what happened, Vince? 371,000 people connected to the webinar for 1 hour. So we had more than 250,000 people connected to discuss about safety, because the message went beyond the practitioner. So when the insurance company took the mailing list, they started to send these emails to people that usually is not involved with safety. But the topic of how should you prepare yourself and your company in a situation like COVID was attracting to safety people that usually is not connected. So my learning out of this is, if we repackage, or if we are able to explain better the value of safety to any stakeholders, the audience will increase dramatically, of an order of thousands, not an order of 10. Usually our webinar have 300 to 400 people connected. We have 371,000. We had 11,000 comments during the webinar. So unbelievable numbers.
We're towards the end of our conversation here, but I do want to acknowledge that I was brought originally to work with DSS, with your clients, and then came to learn the solutions you provide and the people you work with, and a lot of very caring individuals at DSS who have become friends even. And so this opportunity to talk to you, in fact, I kept hearing this name, Davide. And so I went on LinkedIn and I went, oh, there he is. And so I started following your comments, and this is how this came about, is just your posts on LinkedIn have been truly enlightening. So if anybody wants more information about the kinds of things that DSS is doing, and specifically with Davide and in terms of the kind of front end stuff that he's doing, really that would be a way to do it. Is there anything you want to close with in terms of this company I started was Radical Safety? I call it Radical Safety because radical is the antonym to conventional.
Yes.
And as athletes know, if you approach in a competitive landscape with a conventional mindset, you're not going to do that well. You have to be radical in how you approach this, how you compete, and innovate, and be creative and curious. And so this is really serving us well here on this end. I'm calling you from Dallas. You're in Philadelphia. But would you like to leave any kind of comments in terms of with how we can be unconventional in how we approach safety moving forward?
Look, Vince, I think you are playing a great role in this, because we need radical thinkers. We need diverse people in this world coming and telling us what we can do better. So, our partnership started 1 year ago with the event you helped us, but will continue, because we need people like you that has a different point of view in the safety space, and that will challenge all the assumptions of the industry. So that is what is needed. And then what I want to say in this moment to close from my side, it's really, I hope that we can take advantage of this crisis to elevate our awareness and commitment to greater good. Could be around safety, could be around environmental, should be both, and more. But it's really, right, as the Chinese are used to see, let's make sure that no crisis is wasted. We needed to make sure that the learnings of these days are institutionalized somehow into the future of our companies, because that will help a lot. COVID is telling us, guys, you're not safe. You need to think smarter. You need to think harder, because you're not thinking enough. You're not even aware of what could happen to you next week.
Right.
So that's a big wake-up call, right?
Yeah, it gets our attention, and that's the human condition, right?
Yeah.
People hit in a crisis. I mean, there's a quote by John F. Kennedy: "The best time to fix a leaky roof is when the sun is shining." Right?
Yes.
2015, the sun is shining. Bill Gates gets up there and says, "Hey, you know what? The big thing that could really hit us, but the sun was shining. So who cares? We care, but not now. It's not raining. So now's our chance to fix that leaky roof and be safer and move forward and and care for each other. And that's why you're on this call. So I appreciate your time. I wish you the very best. Spending time with your family, obviously, that's a very important part of this. Maybe the upside to it is we get more family time. But man, I'm sure ready to go to work out there in the real world. So thank you for your time.
Great. Thank you, Vince. Take care.
You're welcome.